So I say you're the Dona County probate judge. No need to know anything else. So let's get going here and start on the process. You brought along some PowerPoint slides, so we'll be bringing those up, and you'll actually have a monitor over that way, and you're welcome to glance over there and cheat, plus use your notes. So let's get going.
Thank you very much. And while your mother planned and really did a wonderful job of planning for her death, that's very unusual.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, a lot of times, most of the time, people wake up when someone passes away that something has to be done, and so that's when I come into the picture, and I'll get a phone call, or someone will come to my office hours, and they'll start out with, my mother just died, or my sister, or my brother. Or,
unfortunately, some kind of tragic loss of a loved one usually.
And so we ask a lot of questions to determine if there has to be a probate, because not in all situations do you have to do a probate.
A lot can be resolved via a will. Usually it's well, actually, I'm not even going to speculate.
Right.
That's your field of expertise.
Right. And I'm glad to be here simply because of that reason. When I took the job on, when I was first appointed, I promised the Dona County Commissioners that I felt that there was a great need in the community for community education about this process, because frankly, I didn't know too much about it. And I thought I knew everything. I mean, I'd been in different jobs that required that I know a lot about government at the federal level, state, county, and I knew absolutely nothing about probate. And a friend of mine's husband passed away very suddenly, and she asked me for my help. She was going through this traumatic period, and that's what happens in a lot of cases. And she says, Alice, can you help me? I don't know what to do about the house, and et cetera. And so I said, okay, sure, and called up the current probate judge at that time, and I asked, she was a friend of mine, I said, steer me in the right direction. She said, come down, pick up a packet, and you should be okay. Well, it wasn't okay. I wasn't okay because there was a lot of things there that I didn't understand. And so I decided, this is a very important issue that a lot of us are going to have to face at one time or another in our lives, because death comes at different times, and it's not an old age issue. I tell my audiences it's an end of life issue. And the more you know about it, the better you can prepare and avoid a lot of these difficulties that come up in my court. So first of all, I'd like to start out, what I do with my presentation that I do for an hour is, and I'll do this, by the way, for any group that will ask me. I've done them before the NAACP, I've done them before, and I do them almost every other month at the Women's Resource Center at Mountain View.
Okay.
They're all free, so anyone that's at least a bit curious or interested can come. But I start out, just defining a lot of terms for people that they hear, and making sure that they understand what those terms mean. And then I go into my jurisdiction, because there are two places that you can do probate. You can do it in my court, which is considered the informal court, or the formal court, which is the district court.
Okay. I didn't know that there was delineation. I thought it was all resolved in your court, what you describe as an informal court.
No, for instance, if will hasn't been presented within 3 years of the death, even though there is a will, I cannot accept it. It has to go to district court. They're the ones that have to decide whether it's admissible or not. My key duty there is to appoint a personal representative to take care of the estate of the decedent.
What we usually call an executor, right? Is that the same term you all use?
Administrator, but in the law, in the probate code, it's called a personal representative of the estate. And again, it's your choice whether you want to be more formal on this. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive going to district court. They do have a pro se procedure, but generally you see an attorney to go to a bigger court. So there are some times, and I will tell you, if you come to me and there's a dispute, for instance, in the family already, starting I say just go to district court, because I don't have the ability to have hearings, to bring people in and discuss issues like that. That's not, mine has to be pretty much, follow the probate court, the code, and not have a lot of, a lot of bickering or fighting over the estate. I can't handle that. That's not in my jurisdiction.
So it's not that you don't want to. It's legally you're not allowed to.
Not in my jurisdiction. I don't have the means to resolve issues like that.
And you like you said, that usually requires hearings where groups need to get together, mediation. Usually someone there representing some sort of mediator. Okay.
And sometimes it starts out in my court, and an issue develops, and we have the ability to transfer it.
So it's, in that case, it's not unlike criminal court, where sometimes after an arraignment or during an arraignment, they see that it's something that needs to go to a higher court. So a similar process with probate sometimes.
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
So the first thing, when you call me and you say my mother died, we have to establish venue. Is this the proper court?
Okay.
The proper county, the proper state, because there are as many 33 counties, there's 33 probate judges. So I only have jurisdiction within Dona County. So there's two criteria for determining whether it's the proper county. Is this the county where the decedent had his domicile? Is this where he lived? Is this where he voted? There's several criteria for determining domicile. If the decedent was not domiciled in New Mexico at all, say that they lived in El Paso, but they own property in Dona County, which happens a lot because of Santa Teresa, then we have the venue is proper in my court. So first we establish venue. Then we say, well, is probate even required? Is there, people say, well, I have a will and I need to have it probated, and so I say, well, what's in the estate? Because if there isn't property in the estate, if people have done what your mother did and took care of things before they died, there might not need to be a probate.
Okay.
And what the biggest criteria that determines on real property, say your home and things like that, whether there needs to be a probate, is the title of the property.
Is it owned outright? Is it owned by the bank? Who actually has the title? I'm not sure I'm clear.
Okay. For when you buy a piece of property, you put it in your name. Okay, or you and your wife or whatever.
It could be co-owned, it could be a group, whatever that may be.
If that ownership is in joint tenancy, for instance, you put on there as joint tenants, you don't have to probate that.
That's right. Like my mother and father were joint owners of their home, and that did not need to be resolved in probate. My mother was outright owner of a house she inherited from her sister, and that did need to be resolved in probate because my father's name was not on the title.
On the title as a joint tenant.
Okay, all right.
And when you have that, you simply just take your death certificate in, record it, and it takes care of taking off the person that just died. And there could be 10 people on there, and as people die, the ownership keeps shifting to the people that are still alive.
Okay.
So that's one. The first thing I do is say, go to the assessor's office, bring me the
deed, right?
The notice of valuation that you get from it.
All right.
And in there, it's going to tell us the book and page of where your deed is recorded. We need to look at that deed because generally people don't even look at their deeds. They don't have their deeds. They're in some drawer somewhere, and they don't know that's important. Okay, could also be in community property and not as joint tenants. Then it has to be probated because in reality, you only have 50%. If there's two of you, a husband and wife, and we have a lot of people that come from other states in which the laws are different,